Hey everyone, welcome to another deep dive. We're tackling a big one today, mental illness. You guys gave us this really impactful article, Understanding Mental Illness, from the Advocate Voice. And wow, the stats in here are kind of alarming. Almost 20% of US adults each year? That's huge. So we really got to unpack this, cut through the stigma.
Definitely, it's something that touches so many lives,
Yeah.
yet we don't talk about it enough.
Exactly. And that's what I thought was so powerful about this article. It just lays it all out there. But before we even get into like the symptoms and all that, we got to start with the basics, right? Like, what is mental illness? It's more than just a bad day. Yeah.
Way more. I mean, everyone feels down sometimes. That's normal life stuff. But when we're talking mental illness, it's persistent. It really throws things off balance long term.
Right. So it's about the impact, how much it disrupts your life. That makes sense. And the article actually defines it as like a condition affecting your mood, your thinking, your behavior, basically how you function day to day.
Exactly. And, it's like with physical health, early recognition is key. If you ignore a persistent cough or pain, it might be something minor or it could be serious. Same with mental health. The sooner you pay attention, the better equipped you are to handle it.
Okay, so just like don't brush things off. Makes sense.
Um,
But there's also this stigma, right? Like people are afraid to admit they're struggling. And this article hits that head on.
For sure, and that stigma is so damaging, it prevents people from getting help.
Totally. It's like this article said you wouldn't tell someone with diabetes to just snap out of it.
Exactly. It's a medical condition, period.
Yeah, like imagine feeling ashamed to seek help for anxiety because you think it makes you weak.
Right. When in reality, reaching out for support is a sign of incredible strength.
So true. Okay, so we've established it's real, it's common.
Hmm.
But the symptoms can be tricky, right? Like everyone pictures depression as just being super sad all the time.
And it can be that, for sure. But it can also look like numbness, irritability,
Mm.
even physical pain.
Whoa, really? I didn't realize it could get so physical.
Oh, yeah. Same with anxiety, racing heart, dizziness, feeling like you can't breathe.
It's like your body's trying to sound the alarm, but you don't always recognize it. That's wild. So if the signs are so varied, what even causes this stuff?
Well, it's complicated, which the article gets into. It's rarely just one thing.
Right, like it can't just be bad luck, can it?
Nope. This is where the whole biopsychosocial model comes into play. Big word, I know. But basically, think of it like a three-legged stool. One leg is your biology genes, brain chemistry.
Okay, so like some people are more predisposed to certain conditions because of family history.
Right. But genes aren't destiny. That's just one leg of the stool. Another leg is psychological classes, your personality, how you think, how you handle stress.
So like if you're naturally more anxious or prone to negative thinking, that plays a role too.
Exactly. And then the final leg, that's the social stuff, your environment, support system, life events.
Ah, so that's where things like chronic stress or difficult life circumstances come in.
Yep. And you need all three legs for the stool to stand. It's the interplay of all these factors.
It's really kind of like how you handle the pressure, right? Some people bend, some people break.
And some people are built for it, right? Like they've got those extra support beams built in.
That's a good analogy. But okay, so we've got this complex web of causes. What about solutions? If it's a medical condition, is there like a mental health equivalent of, I don't know, antibiotics?
Well, that's where things get interesting because treatment's not one size fits all. The article makes that super clear. It's about finding what works for you.
Okay, so less about a cure, more like finding the right toolkit.
Exactly. And medication can be part of that toolkit for sure.
Right, like sometimes you need that boost to even function.
Right. Totally. It's not about masking the problem, but like leveling the playing field so you can actually address it.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
But it's not just meds, right? There's therapy and all that. What kind of therapy stuff did this article talk about?
Well, they mentioned CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. That one's huge.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that. It's like retraining your brain to think differently. Right?
Exactly. Challenging those negative thought patterns, replacing them with more helpful ones.
So less doom and gloom, more, I got this.
You got it. And then there's DBT, which is kind of similar, but focuses more on managing intense emotions.
Oh, so like if you're prone to those really overwhelming feelings,
Right.
DBT gives you tools to cope.
Exactly. It's like building up your emotional resilience, learning to ride the waves instead of getting crushed by them.
That's a good one. Got to remember that. But it wasn't all talk therapy, right? They mentioned art therapy too, didn't they?
They did. Because sometimes words aren't enough, Art can be a powerful outlet for processing stuff.
It's like tapping into a different part of your brain, expressing yourself in a whole new way. I love that. But okay, beyond therapy, what about just like everyday stuff we can do? I feel like there's always this emphasis on lifestyle changes and all that.
Oh, for sure. And the article hits on that too, especially the power of exercise.
Ugh, exercise. I knew you were going to say that. But I guess it's true. It does make a difference, huh?
It really does. It's
Yeah.
like a magic potion for your brain.
Yeah.
Endorphins, stress reduction, better sleep.
Okay, okay, you've convinced me. Maybe I'll actually go for that run tomorrow. But speaking of things that help you chill out,
Hmm.
mindfulness, right? That's got to be good for mental health.
Huge. And it doesn't have to be complicated. Just taking a few minutes to breathe, be present.
It's like quieting the noise, you know? Just finding that little bit of peace.
Totally.
Hmm.
And this article wasn't just about personal stuff. It also talked about supporting others.
Oh, yeah, that's so important. But it can feel kind of overwhelming, right? Like, what do you say to someone who's struggling?
Right. We don't have to be therapists. We don't need all the answers. Sometimes just listening is the most powerful thing you can do. Really hearing them.
Instead of trying to fix it or offer advice, just be there.
Exactly. And this article actually mentioned active listening, which I thought was interesting.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that. But what does it actually mean more than just like nodding along?
Right. It's about being present, paying attention to their body language, their tone, really trying to understand what they're going through, even the stuff they're not saying.
Because sometimes just feeling heard is huge, right? It validates what they're going through.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But of course, there are times when someone needs more than we can give.
Yeah, like what if it's really serious? We're not professionals.
Exactly. And that's where, encouraging them to seek help is so important.
So instead of trying to be their therapist, we can be the ones who say, hey, it's okay to reach out.
Exactly. And, that goes hand in hand with self-care, which the article talked about too.
Oh, for sure. You can't pour from an empty cup, right?
Yeah,
Got to take care of yourself to help others.
exactly. It's not selfish, it's essential.
Wow. We covered a lot today. This whole mental health thing, it's complex.
It is. But this article, it gave us a good starting point, Understanding is key.
Totally.
So,
And I love that this article didn't just leave us hanging with a bunch of info. It gave us action steps, too. So my final thought for everyone listening is this. What's one thing you can do today to prioritize mental well-being, whether it's for yourself or someone you care about? Even a small step makes a difference.
couldn't agree more. And remember, there's no shame in seeking help. You are not alone.
Beautifully said. All right, everyone, that's a wrap on this deep dive. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other.